Hey, what's going on guys? I hope you're all doing absolutely amazing. My name is Jason. If you're new to my channel, I do a whole bunch of tips, tricks, tutorials on film and photography. But today we're going to be talking about the A7 IV and what kind of cards we're going to be using and what kind of cards you can actually use in this one. I'm obviously recording on the A7 IV right now, the FX6 and the A7 III's sitting by side, so you can see exactly what s-cintetone looks right now with all-eye codec. Now I have fantastic news for you guys. Now, I know a lot of people have regular Sandisk V30 cards, and surprisingly, they actually work. Yeah, get this, they actually work with 4K 60 frames per second. That is so good for people who actually still have some of those cards. But there is a bit of a but, because there are some codecs that it will work with and obviously some codecs that it won't work with. So, I was using the Sandisk V30 128GB card. Now this one actually works with XAVC HS4K, and it works with all the frame rates, 24 frames per second and 60 frames per second with 200 megabits per second, 422 10-bit. Now in the other compressed codec, the XAVC-S in 4K, it works with that as well in 24, 30, and 60, all the way up to 200 megabits per second in that 60 frames per second, 422 and 10-bit. So in all those compressed codecs with 4K, it works perfectly fine, which is so good for people who still have those cards. Now, when it comes to the regular XAVC-S HD, obviously it's gonna work with that because if you do have the A7 III or any other Sony full frame camera or even APS-C cameras, that was the old codec with 1080p and it works perfectly fine in 120p, no problems. And obviously all the other codecs below that because it's only 100 megabits per second in that one, 420 8-bit. But obviously when it comes to the all-eye codec, it's not going to work. Now we switch over to the V60 cards, and that's when it becomes a little bit interesting because the V60 cards does pretty much exactly the same as what the V30 cards do. You can record in the compressed codec with all up to 60 frames per second in XAVC HS4K and XAVC-S 4K. That is really good news, but it doesn't unfortunately do all-eye codec just like the V30 card. You do actually have to switch over to the V90 cards, which gives you pretty much absolutely everything. So if you do have a V90 card, you're going to be recording absolutely anything. So you don't actually need the CF Express Type A cards. The one thing about the CF Express Type A cards is that the read speed and write speed is so much faster. So if you do want to transfer to your laptop or PC, whatever, iMac, faster, it's going to do that. So if you are pressed for time or if you want to have a faster workflow, those kind of cards do work well. So when it comes to what type of cards, now you can get the Sandisk cards. They are a little bit more expensive than the Prograde. You do have your Angelbird and you also have Lexar cards, which are generally the name brands.
So back in the day, I used to only use Sandisk because that was like the standard go-to, everyone relied on them. And then obviously a few other manufacturers started coming out like Lexar and whatnot. And I did jump on Lexar because it was a bit cheaper than Sandisk. I've had terrible experiences with Lexar and I do not recommend anyone gets them.
Lexar are the worst cards ever. Do not buy them. I've got 3 of them and I pretty much just use it in my Zoom H5 with my audio now.
The only brand I trust is the good old Prograde digital. And I have not looked back ever since. Prograde is the best. The price is somewhere in between Lexar and Sandisk, but it has like the performance and the reliability of Sandisk and none of Lexar. Let's just, don't worry about Lexar. Just cut that off your list. Who are they? Who even are they?
I definitely recommend stay away from Lexar cards. I absolutely hate using them. They have corrupted so many times when I had the A7S III and the FX6. They just do not like those cards. And I haven't thrown them in the rubbish. I'm actually using a 32GB one recording with my Zoom H5. But other than that, I don't use them at all. Maybe when it comes to photography, it probably does work, but I do not want to trust those cards anymore when it comes to my actual professional workflow. Prograde is actually one of the cards that I use all the time. And I used to use Sandisk all the time, but they're just a little bit too expensive. Even though I do have one CF Express Type A. I've only got the 80GB, but definitely works perfectly perfect when it comes to the FX6. I mean, the FX6 pretty much takes a whole bunch of different options in comparison to the A7 IV, but the A7 IV, if you do want to have those higher codecs, V90 is perfectly fine, which is such good news for people who don't want to fork out that extra money for the CF Express Type A. Other than that, guys, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Comment below what you guys use. What kind of cards do you have? Are you a Sandisk person? Are you a Lexar person? I mean, if you are a Lexar person, I'm sorry that I probably offended you, but yeah, throw those things out. Get Prograde, get Sandisk, or get Angelbird. You don't want to get Lexar. In my personal experience, in Andy's personal experience, we just had such bad experiences with those cards and we don't have them anymore. We actually have Prograde ones. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's get it.